Good afternoon, race fans. This is Campbell here with the Marist men's rowing team, and I'm coming at you today with a fire hose of information. We're in the new year, and we just got back from our winter camp, so I'm going to have an update for you from that. And we're also going to be announcing our spring slate of races. So I'm excited to get a lot of information in your belly. As I'm speaking to you, we're in the midst of a big snowstorm. I'll give you a quick glimpse outside the house here. We've got about maybe 8 inches, and we're expected to get another perhaps up to 24 inches total in the next 24 hours. So that's kind of my first piece of news. It's been a cold winter already, and we had a lot more snow and cold in December than usual. And so it looks like it's going to be a long winter. I'm not sure when we're going to get back on the water, but the rowers are working hard nonetheless. The winter training process kicked off a little bit differently this year. Over the last 5 years, we've been doing a program that we call the Tour de Po, or the Tour de Poughkeepsie, where each week was basically a stage, similar to the Tour de France. And the goal of the competition was to see how many meters you could accrue over the course of that stage. And there were different prizes. There were prizes for stage winners. There were leaders' jerseys. Over a period of time, it got pretty complex and pretty interesting. And what we were finding, unfortunately, in the last 2 or 3 years was that in spite of a lot of the kind of coaches' attention to it, we really weren't getting the buy-in that we wanted from the athletes. We weren't getting the participation rate that we wanted. That's not to say that the athletes weren't working. And in fact, there were several who really loved this program. Those of you who have one of the jerseys in your closet know who you are. We've had some serious all-stars who have used the Tour de Po to great effect in their training. But what we were finding is that process seemed to always reward the same type of athlete over and over and over again. And it wasn't really stirring up the desire or emotion or motivations of other athletes to jump in and get involved. And so I kind of made one of my missions this year was to kind of release that training plan back to the athletes, to put them back in the driver's seat, especially because the coaches, from a legal perspective, really aren't supposed to have a lot of oversight over what we do during the winter. And so we worked in November very closely with the captains of the team and a group of team leaders from all of the classes and all different levels, and the coxswains. And we put together a plan that tried to take into account kind of the wishes of all the athletes. So we had a big meeting with the whole team, and we talked about all the things, good and bad, that they had done during the winter in the past, and how we could do better and eventually get to a stronger position from the winter training plan. And so the plan we put together was completely new. There were a lot of different aspects. For instance, one of the big differences was that instead of having 7 to 10 smaller training squads that would compete with each other, we had 2 big teams, a red team and a white team. And those 2 big teams would kind of go at it over the course of the winter training period. And so, the goal was to get more buy-in, get more participation from the whole team in the winter training process. And so I think from coach's perspective, this time of year is a huge challenge. It is simultaneously our biggest risk and also our biggest opportunity. That is because during this initial stage of winter training is probably about 8 weeks long. The athletes are training on their own for the most part. Many of them are going home. Most of them are going home to places that are cold and inhospitable. So the opportunities to train outside are very slim for most of them. And so the result is that a lot of them find it hard to motivate themselves to keep working. And when you're not surrounded by your teammates and you don't have your practices built into your daily schedule in a more formal way, the way they are on campus, it's hard. And so, the goal of this year again was to kind of boost that participation, and by and large, I think we did. I think we had more total amount of work that got done, and we also had more athletes who were bought into the program. I don't think it was perfect, but it was significantly better than last year. And I think we've already kind of eyeballed some small changes and things that we can make for next year to continue to improve. But big thanks to the captains and the team members who got really active in that process. I think that it made a good effect on the team, and we're going to hope to continue that process in the years to come and continue to give the athletes more and more ownership of that like 8 week training block, the part of winter where they're at home. At the tail end of that period, we took our top 2 8s and the next fastest spare pair down to DeLand, Florida for a 5-day training trip, which is something we have been doing down there since 2020. It was a great trip. The athletes, I think, were more prepared this year than in past years, in part because of a better winter training program. I also think the level of training and the depth of the team is stronger now than it has been in a little while. And you could really see that when we arrived there. I think the last 2 or 3 years, camp has felt a little bit like we're trying to elevate their ability to row, their technical ability. And this year it felt like after a couple shakedown rows, everybody kind of knew their business, and we were able to just jump in and just start training full time. And so that was really cool. We even had a gentleman who lives down there, along one of the canals in DeLand, actually came running out of his house the last day we were there and asked us who we were, and was commenting that he felt the crew was rowing really well. So that was cool to just have a kind of a random native who sees rowers going by all the time say, "Hey, you guys look really good." But I think the athletes should be really proud of the way they rowed, the way they prepared for the trip. The trip went very seamlessly. You could just tell everybody was kind of ready to go. And when we got there, we got business done. And so that was exciting. There were some kind of typical elements of the trip that we've seen in past years. We did our annual jungle row, which was cool. It's about a 22 to 24,000 meter long row that we do out through kind of all these back canals that are near the boathouse there in DeLand, part of which goes through this really narrow canal where the oak trees, the live oaks are kind of overhanging everything, and there's mangrove trees everywhere, and it feels like really alien environment. So that's always really fun. We completed our seat racing matrix, which has become another continuous feature of the Florida trip. Went very well. The athletes were all in very close competition this year. And so that was an exciting thing. The matrix is done, less out of a desire to really do any kind of formal selection on this trip, We view it as being fun because it's an inter-squad competition and also gives us a lot of time rowing at kind of medium to high rates in fours, which is great technical work for the athletes, and also kind of reinforces with them their ability to do switches and adapt to new lineups and new environments without getting stressed out. And I think that helps them in the long run when we do more formal sea racing in the future, that when they go to switch in a boat, that it doesn't feel like this totally alien thing, that they can kind of say, yeah, I already did this, 15 times down in Florida and I know what's up, and away we go. So we did the Matrix. The winners of the Matrix on port side was Tristan Westuba, and on starboard side, Reed Livingston were our fastest two. Those guys did a great job over the course of both of our big sessions that we did to claim their thrones. We also did the lights versus heavies, which is a little bit of a misnomer because the lights are not really that light. But the heavies won. This was their second win in 3 years, which I was reminded of on the trip. I think it's become kind of steeped into the minds of the coaches and the rowers that the lights versus heavies is kind of the yearly opportunity for the lighter guys on the team to stick it to the heavyweights and really show them what's up. And it's honestly been pretty rare historically for the heaviest guys to win that race. But the heavies did a good job this year, and they took the win, a rare win for the heavies. So good for them. We did, for that workout, it was kind of a series of building power pieces and builders where we were bringing the rate up the whole time. I will point out that the final sprint between the lights versus heavies was very close and hotly contested. So the heavies did win that as well, but it was much closer at a full, kind of full tilt sprint and not rate capped. And then at the end of the week, we had a little play date with Stetson. I won't dive super deep into the results of that. The workout that we did was such that I wouldn't say there were any tangible bracing results that came out of that. It was just fun to have a hostile crew next to us. So bunch of thank yous for that trip. One, thank you to Stetson. Especially the Stetson coaching staff, who are always very hospitable to us when we're there. They do a really good job at their facility down there. And if there's ever, if there's any teams that watch these or coaches that watch these videos and are looking for a place to go for their winter training or spring training, highly recommend DeLand. Special thanks to our host, Solly Williams, who's been putting us up in a series of Airbnbs down there. I'm pretty sure at this point that he owns half the town of DeLand, half of the houses in DeLand. But he's been putting us up in his houses down there for 3 or 4 years. He's really big into the skydiving scene, which is apparently huge in DeLand. And so he has all these big houses that he hosts skydivers at, and they're perfect for our team. So thank you to him and his crew. And then, I want to mention our coaching staff. I think that it is, it goes without saying that adding a trip during the winter like this is added wear and tear on the coaches, who don't necessarily need to give up a week to go, be away in Florida. And in particular, I want to thank Coach Stratton, who has been a very vocal proponent of this trip. He participated in trips like this When he was an athlete at Syracuse University, I think he really sees the value of getting our athletes on the water on this trip, and it's a sacrifice for sure. He has another job, and for him to give up a whole week to come down and be living with us in Florida, and going out on the water twice a day is not easy. So thank you to him for his help and support. I also want to mention that we had 2 volunteer coaches with us. We had class of 2024. Oxel and Durek Durwood was on his second trip as a coach with us. And also class of 2025, Liam Clem, who was working with our novice boat during the fall and who's been a volunteer coach for us this year. Both of those guys were on the trip, and they were super helpful, not just with the kind of logistical support of kind of moving around people and material and getting everybody where they needed to go, but also helping with on the water functions and scorekeeping and the kind of coaching functions and helping Coach Stratton and I with kind of talking about the team and where we want to go and how we wanted to complete the week. And it's cool for the athletes to have those guys there, guys who, were just on the team, and they are able to give some insight about, what the coaches are seeing, and also some reinforcement to the team about, that we're moving in the right direction. I know both of those guys were really excited about the quality of rowing that we saw on the trip. And I just want to thank both of them. It's huge that we have recent alumni who are willing to come back, and even if they don't have big riches, are able to donate their time to the team in that way. And it is very meaningful for the athletes and is super helpful to Coach Stratton and I. And so thank you to those 2 guys for coming down with us. And then finally, I wanted to thank our alumni who have participated in our fundraising over the last 8 years with the Red Fox Navy. The Red Fox Navy helps in a huge way with that trip in kind of two key ways that are attached to one another. First is that a small amount of money, a small amount of our giving each year goes to support this event directly, this training camp. And so, a certain percentage of our Giving Day funding does help pay directly for this trip for our athletes, which is huge. But I think more importantly, or more in line with what we talk about during our fundraising process every year, is that the Red Fox Navy is supporting almost 100% of our equipment needs for the team. And what that means is that our operating budget is able to be focused entirely 100% each year on the current year and the current athletes, and getting, maximizing each season the outcomes for the athletes that are here. And so in a huge way, the Giving Day funds and the funds raised there have supported our fleet of shells, oars, launches, ergs, and other training equipment in a way that has allowed us to funnel funds out of our operating budget that we can then use on a trip like this. And so huge thank you to everyone who takes part in our fundraising, because it does make a big difference. And this is an area of very visible influence on our team that fundraising has had. All right, I want to get down to our spring calendar. We are very excited about the spring. The team is moving along really well. Coach Stratton and I are super pumped about the fitness and where the athletes are at. We are going to be going to spring training from March 14th to the 21st in Virginia on Lake Occoquan. This will be our third year at Lake Occoquan. It does look like we are going to slightly transition locations to the south side of Lake Occoquan. And so we will be launching from I believe it's the Prince William County Boathouse instead of the Sandy Run Boathouse. That move has been made in part to try and improve the student athlete experience while we're down there. We're going to be staying at a hotel that is much closer to the course. And so we're hoping to cut way down on the hours that the athletes are spending on the bus each day, getting moved around. So we're hoping to improve the experience this year in that key way. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. The season is going to start at the end of that trip. We will probably be doing a couple of scrimmages. We have been doing a scrimmage yearly with GMU, who are based right there at Sandy Run. And then we also are talking with George Washington University, who used to be a really strong varsity program and are now a very strong club program, about setting up a scrimmage with them while we're down there. I don't have exact timing or days for those scrimmages, and probably neither one of them are going to be really viewable to the public, but we will try to come to you with some results of those scrimmages, because we will be doing like some hard race pieces with them. The weekend after we get home, March 28th, we will be going to Trinity to do a scrimmage there at their boathouse, which has been on the slate for a number of years now. We have been celebrating that every year by it being extremely cold, so hopefully this year we will buck that trend, but we'll see. The following weekend, April 4th, we will be in Cambridge, Massachusetts, to do our annual duel with MIT. That is our only race of the year that is just mano-a-mano with another team, and so we're definitely looking forward to that race. It's always really cool doing that right on the basin in the middle of the Boston area, and downtown Boston in the background. So we're looking forward to that race. MIT is always great competition. We were close this fall, so I think it's going to be a great racing between the two squads. The following weekend is a change. Last year, we went back up to Boston on this weekend, and we did a bunch of duels with some of our D3 opponents from the NIRC. And this year, with Marist moving out of the NIRC and becoming a Dad Vale program, we felt like we needed to change our schedule to kind of see more of those teams that are going to be at our championship during the regular season. And so we have been chatting with a group of schools that wanted to set up a race. We are going to be racing on Sunday, April 12th. We'll be back at Lake Occoquan in Virginia for that race. And we're going to be racing Jacksonville, Marietta, Embry-Riddle, St. Joe's, Hobart, and University of San Diego at that event. We are excited to see what that looks like. The event is going to be a series of duels, so there will be 2 heats in the morning that will probably be seeded based on our performances up until that point. And then in the afternoon, there will be an A final and a B final. And so we're looking forward to that race. It's a great group of schools. There's some schools in there like Embry-Riddle and Jacksonville and San Diego who are from far away areas that we don't normally see, but they're all D1 teams. And we will be seeing all of those same schools at our championship as well. So we're looking forward to that race. I think that'll be a really cool one. And we'll be excited to see, how that all shakes out at that event. That'll kind of run all day that day on April 12th. I don't have exact race times yet, but we will be putting that out on our website in the lead up to that event. Make sure everyone gets information. April 25th, the weekend after, we will be in Worcester, Massachusetts. And that's once again a duel that everyone is used to seeing. We've been doing this duel with Holy Cross for quite a while now, ever since I've been at Marist. So this will be, I believe, our 10th year in a row racing Holy Cross in the regular season. There have been a number of other teams that have come and gone from that duel, but this year's group looks like it's going to be Holy Cross, BU, Temple, Hobart, and then potentially St. Joe's might be joining us that day as well. So we might see them 2 weekends in a row, which would be exciting. After that, we're going to have a 2-week break. There is a possibility that there might be something happening at home for us on April 25th, but I do not have, sorry, I am given the wrong dates on here. So it's the Holy Cross duel is on the 18th. I apologize. And then this other date, the 25th, we might have something happening at home, but I don't have it scheduled yet. If we are able to make it work, we might do something with Colgate or Fairfield or Iona, who we raced last year around that time. Their event, the event that we attended in Iona last year, got pushed back a weekend because of they run that based on the title schedule. And so we are not going to attend that event again because of how that shakes out with our own training and preparation for Dadvale and also finals for the athletes. So there's going to be a 2-week break. And then on May 8th and 9th, we will be in Camden, New Jersey, Cherry Hill at the Cooper River for the Dadvale Regatta. I know some of our alumni are going to be super excited that we are back at the Dadvale for the second year in a row, and this time on a more permanent basis. Marist was a full-time member of the Dadvale for a very long time, and many of our alumni's fondest memories or most competitive memories are big races at the Dadvale back when it was in downtown Philly on the Schuylkill River. And so in some ways, this is kind of a returning home for Marist as a program to what was traditionally our championship in the past. The event has grown enormously. There have been a number of different things that have taken place over the last year or 2 years. There was an event called the Southern IRA, SIRA or SIRA, which used to be all the Florida programs, and also Colgate was attending that event and a number of other programs. That event has lost its qualification spot for the IRA. Simultaneously, last year was our last year at the NIRC Regatta. We were informed by the organizers of that event that it was going to be for D3 programs only moving forward, which meant that Marist, Embry-Riddle, Hobart, and MIT, and I believe Iona as well, who were all attending the NIRC, were shifted all over to the Dadvale Regatta. There has also been a massive political defection of teams who were in the Mountain Pacific League on the West Coast and didn't like how things were going in that conference and the number of qualifying spots they were being given and so forth. And so 3 of those programs, Santa Clara and University of San Diego and Gonzaga, they will all be joining us at the Dadvale as well. So there are nearly 20 Division I programs now that will be competing at the Dadvale this spring, which is very exciting to have everybody in one big event. And so we're looking forward to being a part of that. The top 4 programs at the Dadvale will earn an automatic qualifying spot for the IRA Regatta. And then the IRA takes place 3 weeks later on May 29th to the 31st. And this year it will be in California for the first time in a long time at my favorite race course in Lake Natoma, right near Sacramento. So that's our spring calendar. The team's focus, I would say, is as usual, somewhat of a what a football or a soccer coach would say, which is we're keeping our eyes focused on what the each next competition, each next thing. Right now, the athletes have winter training in front of them, which is a big challenge, and so we're focused on nailing our training down and doing that properly on the day to day. We have big competitive pieces each week, and they're very focused on that. And then as we get into the regular season, it's how can we execute each week and do each week well, and then prepare ourselves and be, have all our strength ready for the Dad Bale Regatta in early May there. And so we're excited to see what we can do. I think that, from the kind of subjective perspective of what we think could happen, for this group, they are still very young. We had in the Varsity 8 this fall, 6 of our 8 athletes were either freshmen or sophomores. And so that's just kind of an indicator of, that the team has a lot to gain still. They are not at their maximum speed yet. But I am very pleased and proud with how hard they are pushing. There's a clear level of urgency with that younger group of, let's not wait around and let's get this show on the road and try and get a qualification this year and kind of change the conversation from the IRA being a little bit of a pie in the sky goal and being more of a no, this is serious. We're going to go do this. And so I think they're doing a good job of that. There's some great leadership happening at all different levels, and we're looking forward to seeing what the team can do. That's my main message today. I know I threw a lot at you. We are going to have, in the coming weeks, we're going to have our annual biathlon coming up, which I will get some more information out as soon as possible. A tradition unlike any other. That will be Super Bowl Sunday as usual, which I believe this year is February 8th. And so you can expect a live broadcast and some color commentary from the coaches as usual. Again, it has been extremely cold and snowy here. The snow is still coming down. We're getting close to a foot of snow outside my window here. So we are hopeful that the weather will cooperate next Sunday. Is it next Sunday already? 2 Sundays from now. And that we won't get frozen out or have so much snow that the athletes can't compete in that. So we will keep you updated about the annual biathlon, and we will also be participating in the fundraiser and the ERG relay for the Connor Dawes Foundation. We'll send out some more information about that in the coming weeks as well. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in, and we're looking forward to seeing you during the season this year. And in the meanwhile, stay warm. Go Red Foxes.